Good evening, good evening, good evening. And I'm your host, Willie A. Price. Willie A. Price Speaks. And welcome to another Sunday of A Better You Lifestyle. A Better You Lifestyle. It's what we talk about, where we go from understanding your you, which is what we're talking about tonight. We do the show every Sunday, 8 o'clock p.m. And sometimes we're going to do some pre recorded shows because I may be out of town. But tonight we're doing Understanding Your You. The first week of every month we do Understanding Your You. The second week is A Mother's Love, and A Mother's Love is all about how we can work with our young people, the young people that we work with in our community and our families and our lives, to help them to create better lifestyles for themselves. Remember, this show is A Better You Lifestyle. Our third week is Financially You, and Financially You is where we talk about how to create better finances, not only for you, but for you and your family, to create generational wealth and wealth for your family, your wife, your children, allowing them to learn how to grow together and generate wealth and create different opportunities so that way they don't have to struggle in life. And then on our fourth week is Making Your House Your Home. And Making Your House Your Home is all about housing, real estate, how to buy a home, how to maintain a home, how to do anything with a home, which is basically what we talk about with Making Your House Your Home. So it's not just buying and selling and investing. It's also about a person who has a home and how they can maintain that home and make it a better home for themselves. So again, this is A Better You Lifestyle. Again, my name is Willie A. Price. Willie A. Price Speaks, and I'm your host of this show. Tonight is Understanding Your You. Understanding Your You. And I wrote some notes here because what I wanted to talk about tonight is how we allow people to give us a description of who we are. Understanding Your You. Who are you? That's what this is. Understanding Your You. Who are you? So a lot of times we allow people to give us a description, or they try to label us as a who they think we are, and then we try to either prove, disprove, or live up to that label or image that they've given us. But what we find too is that those same people are not always looking out for our best interests. So we have to be careful who we allow into our lives and into our circle. I tell people all, when I talk all the time, I say to our young people, I say to them, surround yourself with better. And sometimes when you surround yourself with better, that means you have to move yourself outside of the people who you surround yourself with, are your friends, your family, sometimes even family. And you have to find other people who are going to be a better influence for you, who are going to have the best interest for you, or who you feel have a better interest for you. And you're going to surround yourselves with those people, which often sometimes could be a mentor. It could be other family members. You may even find yourself having to relocate to a different location to be around people who are going to surround you with better opportunities, better feelings about yourself when you wake up in the morning, better just better a better mindset for yourself. So sometimes, and then sometimes you have to surround yourself with just yourself. You have to take time and be by yourself. There's a lot of people who don't like themselves. They don't like themselves. So before you can surround yourself with better, sometimes you have to surround yourself with yourself, which means you have to take time and isolate yourself and go maybe just in the home or even go away somewhere where you just have time to yourself, where you're by yourself, spending time with yourself, understanding who you are, understanding your you, which is what the show is about. So we find that a lot of times we don't do that. You have some people, they're always around other people. They're always doing other things with other people. And then they basically are allowing those people to dictate who they are because they never take time to be with themselves, to understand who they are. And quite often, what you find is that those people don't really like what they see in themselves. You don't spend a lot of time alone with yourself if you don't like what you see. So just imagine, how can you be in a relationship with someone if you don't even like yourself? That person isn't going to like you. That person is going to like, how is that person going to like who you are if you don't even like who you are? I tell people, I say, you have to love yourself. You have to love yourself and know how to love yourself. You have to know what you love about yourself, what you don't love about yourself. You need to know how you want to be loved by others, which means you have to love on yourself first. Understanding you're you. That's what this show is all about. And if you don't understand who you are, you don't understand what you like, you don't understand what you don't like, you're not afraid to say what you like and what you don't like. Because if you know what you like and you're afraid to say it, or if someone's presenting something to you and you know you don't like what they're presenting, but you allow it, you're again allowing that person to dictate who you are, dictate what you're accepting of. And then what happens is you become either miserable with yourself, or you begin eventually to act out because that person eventually gets to the point where they treat you a certain way, and after a while you get frustrated with it, and then you start to act out on them. And as a result of that, their understanding of what's going on is lost, because they've been doing it for so long that now you're responding to it, and they're trying to say, well, I've been doing this for whatever amount of time it is, and you've never said anything. That is why we have to understand who we are. That's why we have to understand who you are. You have to take time and be alone, be by yourself, whether it's in your home. And sometimes you can't even do it in your home because you may have other people around. You may have your children around. You may have your mate around. You may, whoever it is, you may live with someone. So the thing is, it may be difficult for you to spend a large amount of time alone by yourself. So you may have to say, I need some me time, and travel somewhere, go somewhere, get a hotel room, you know, go somewhere where you can spend time alone. And you might do it on a couple different weekends. Once a month for a weekend, you may go away and just spend 24 hours alone by yourself for a couple months. And what that will do is it will allow you to spend time with yourself, to understand who you are, be able to do some of the things you like. Can you sit in a room for hours alone by yourself, maybe watching television, reading a book, walking in the park? Can you do those things alone by yourself and feel good about yourself? Some people can't. Some people sit in the house, and because they've been so used to being around other people and allowing other people to dictate some of the things or all of the things that they do in life, they can't sit in the room by themselves because they feel lost and they're looking for something to do. And because they don't enjoy who they are, they don't enjoy themselves, they can't enjoy their own company, then they get out and they start doing other things to get away from themselves. How do you get away from yourself? How do you run away from yourself? Eventually, you're going to find that you're going to be miserable. You're going to be miserable, and you're going to get, especially as you get older, you're not going to go out as much as often. You're not going to have as many friends. So as a result of that, eventually you're going to be surrounded by yourself. Even though you may still have friends around and people that you associate with, you're not going to be spending as much time with those people. So you have to get to know who you are. And I found this quote, and it really hit home with me when I read it, when I saw it on social media, and I told the person I was going to borrow it. And it says, the hardest pill I've had to swallow was realizing I meant nothing to people that a lot. Okay, hold on, let me get this again. The hardest pill I ever had to swallow was realizing I meant nothing to people that meant a lot to me. The hardest pill I ever had to swallow was realizing I meant nothing to people that meant a lot to me. Surrounding yourself with better. And that's what happens when you surround yourself, or you're with people who you put so much into because you don't like who you are. You don't like spending time by yourself. So you start spending time with those people and you latch on to certain people and you start doing all these things for them because you want them to know that they mean their being means so much to you being. Their being means so much to you being. So as a result of that, we start putting so much into other people, into our friends, into our family, into certain people that we spend time around. We put so much into them that we don't put anything into ourselves. We allow them to become our being. And it made me think when I read this post and when I saw it and I read it back and forth to myself, and it made me think about a situation that I myself was in. I had gotten, back, I had a friend who I thought was a friend, and I spent so much time with this person because I didn't like being by myself. I didn't like being alone. I didn't like sitting in my house and doing the things that I'm doing, reading and writing and working on projects. I didn't feel I just wanted to be around other people. And so I would go around this person and I would do things with this person. They would call me and say, hey, let's do this. And all right, let's go. And I'll jump up and do it. No matter what I'm doing, they never said, hey, what are you doing? Maybe, we can get together. They would say, hey, what are you doing? I'm going to do this. Come. And I would jump up and go, okay. And I would go and I would do these things and and I can't fault the person because they were doing what they wanted to do. I meant my well-being and my personal space and my things that was going on in my life meant nothing to this person. But they knew that I would come jump and run and do anything they'd ask me to do because what I realized is that I meant nothing to them and they meant a lot to me. Their friendship meant a lot to me. So even though I realized, and I would say, I would even say it sometimes like, I'm always, coming your way and I'm always helping you out. But then when I need you to help me, you never help me. You always got an excuse why you can't help me do something, why you can't be a part of what I'm trying to do or why, and then knowing, especially when you know that person can help you or they have an expertise or a skill that they can help you with. And then you realize that they'll allow you to do whatever it is they need you to do for them, but will never ever do anything that you need them to do for you or to help you out in situations or be there for you in certain situations, and will sometimes even go out of their way to prevent you from moving ahead or achieving certain goals, and then think nothing of it. And I had a person that I called a friend like that, and that's what they did. They would do things, and I was like, oh man, you do me so bad. Why did you do that? And they, no big deal. Oh man, give me some excuse why they did it, but it made no sense. And I accepted it because I value the friendship more than I valued myself. I valued the friendship more than I valued myself, more than I valued my own well-being. And eventually I had to realize that I had to surround myself with better, that to surround myself with myself and understand who I was and start to enjoy who I was. And once I started to do that, I had no need to be around people who could leech off of me or take advantage of me, or that I felt that I needed to be around to in order to be what they needed me to be, because I was putting my existence on the visions and the views of other people. And I think a lot of that was because what I was going through, had just gone through, was a divorce. And as a result of that, I kind of had lost myself because I had lost myself in that person that I was married to. So I kind of, changed a lot of my lifestyle because of that. So again, I didn't enjoy who I was because I was trying to fit someone else's image during that time. And then I left out of that relationship, that marriage, and then was looking for someone else to give me a label or an understanding of who I was instead of looking inside of myself to understand who I was. Understanding your you. That's what this show is about. We have to sit down and spend time with ourselves. We have to sit down and spend time with ourselves, understand who we are. And when I do my programs, we do this 4 W's to a successful life. And what we do with the 4 W's to a successful life is all about understanding who you are. That's the first W. Who? Who are you? Who are you? Where are you trying to go? What is it going to take for you to get there? And why are you willing to commit to whatever it is you're willing to commit to? The 4 W's to a successful life. Who, where, what, and why. And we don't use that roadmap enough in life to be successful. Sometimes, again, if we allow someone to designate who we are, then our where and our what's and our whys are all based on or dependent on that person who's describing who we are. But when we spend time with ourselves and understand who we are, then we become the dictators of who we are, where we're trying to go, what is it going to take for us to get there, and then why we're willing to commit to it. And some of the what's may depend on those people that we spend time with, but they're not the ones who give us the who and the where. They just may be a part of helping us to achieve what it is we need to achieve. And then we also determine and dictate what and why we're setting that goal, or why we feel that goal is important to us, why we feel that activity is important to our well-being or to our life or to wherever we're trying to go in life. And we don't do that. And we have to sit down and spend time alone, spend time enjoying and liking ourselves. There are so many people that are miserable. There's so many people that are miserable because they don't like themselves. They don't like, if you're sitting in a room and you don't like yourself, and you're in the room by yourself and you don't like what you see and what you feel when that room, and you're looking for something to do or somewhere to go or be around someone else because you don't like what you find in that room by yourself, then that means that you don't understand you don't like yourself. And how can you expect to be in a relationship or be involved with other people who are really looking out for your best interest or would like to look out for your best interest if you don't even like yourself? Because you're going to get around people who are going to be accepting of who you are, that can dictate you to be a certain way. And as a result of that, you're never going to be happy. You're always going to be a miserable person. And like I said, as you get older, you're going to find that as you get older, those people are going to be gone. Those people are going to move on to new friends or move on with their families. They're not going to have time for you. They're not going to have time for you. Even though they may still have some time, your time is going to be limited. So what do? You find yourself being at home miserable because you don't like yourself. You can't be around yourself for too long because then you find yourself being miserable. And I want to read this poem. Well, I don't know if it was a poem or a statement that I heard this gentleman saying today on social media. I was watching. I think it was some kind of movie. I don't even know the name of the movie because it was just a clip. But the guy was saying, and the title is "God Made Me Unstoppable." God made me unstoppable, and the poem hit home with me because it made me think about how so often we ask God to do things for us. We ask God to give us certain things in life. We ask God to bless us in certain ways. And then we look for it in the way that we ask for it to happen. You understand what I'm saying? We look for it in the way that we expect it to happen, because we'll ask God to give us something or to do something for us or make us a certain way. And then we're looking for it, some kind of bright light or whatever the case may be, for it to come to us. And then we say, "Oh, thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord." And then, looking for him to give it to us, whatever way we ask for it. And so what happens is God doesn't live on your descriptions. God doesn't do his things that he does for your life the way you describe it because that's how you think you want it. That's how you want it. Not even think you want it. That's how you want it. And so when it comes to you, you don't sometimes you don't even realize that he's blessed you with what you asked for. And even what you'll find even more is that a lot of times God has blessed you beyond what you could have ever imagined. And I can testify to that. He will bless you in ways that you never would have imagined, because in his vision, you're asking for something so small, so minute, that when he blesses you, you are blown away, because you're like, wow, I asked for this and he gave me this. I mean, I can, if I put my arms out as far as I want to put them out, you wouldn't even see them. But that's how far, you're asking for this, he's giving you this, and you're like, wow, I didn't even ask for all that. But that's how God blesses you. He blesses you in ways and in opportunities and in things that, and it's not always materialistic things. So when I heard this gentleman speak on this show, it was a movie, it's some movie, and he was talking, he was making a statement. And when he made the statement, I had immediately had to write it down and just use it, because it really hit home for understanding your you and how God works in your life. And the title it said was God Made Me Unstoppable. And it goes like this: I asked God for strength, and God gave me difficulties to make me strong. I asked God for wisdom, and God gave me dangers to overcome. Oh, well, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm reading this wrong. So that's why I'm reading. That's what I read. Put things in front of me so I can read them properly, because I read that wrong. Okay, so I'm going to start that over again. I asked God for strength, and God gave me difficulties to make me strong. I asked God for wisdom, and God gave me problems to solve. I asked God for courage, and God gave me dangers to overcome. I asked God for love, and God gave me troubled people to help. My prayers were answered. How many people understand that? How many people understand that statement, those statements? He asked God for certain things, but God gave him and put him in situations where he was able to develop what he needed by doing something for other people or with other people. Through himself, he was able to develop and understand who he was and what he had through the situations that God put him in, which helped to make him stronger in those areas. So I asked God for strength, and God difficulties gave me difficulties to make me strong. So he put him in situations. He asked for strength, but he put him in situations that helped him to develop the strength that he needed. Different difficulties. He put him in difficulties that made him stronger than what he ever imagined he could be, because God don't put you in situations that he knows you can overcome. My grandmother used to say that, and I was like, what are you talking about? Because my grandmother would say some things to me, and I'm starting to realize that what she was normally quoting to me was something from the Bible, or how she interpreted the Bible. So it says, I asked God for strength, and God gave me difficulties to make me strong. So asking God for strength, you ask God, give me the strength to get through this. And then you're sitting there waiting for him to get you through something that you're trying to get through. But then he's putting you in situations that's showing you how to use the strength that you have that you didn't even know was there. And then that way, whenever you face a difficulty, you already know where that strength comes from and how to utilize it to get through. I asked God for wisdom, and God gave me problems to solve. Because again, you're looking for wisdom in a situation. You're looking in one situation, and you're asking God to help you in that situation, give you some understanding how to overcome that situation, and then he gives you problems that you have to solve. God gives you, puts you in different situations where you have problems where you got to solve them. Now you have the wisdom to not only solve the problem that you have, but to overcome and solve problems that may come in your future. So he's not a right here, right now God. He's a God for all times. So he's helping you to develop those strengths and skills that you need. So that way you have the wisdom to not overcome just the problem that you're facing now, but overcome the problems that you may have in the future. So now you have that wisdom. I asked God to give me courage, and God gave me dangers to overcome, because we need courage in certain times. You know, we going through something, we need the courage to face up to whatever it is we're afraid of or that's intimidating us. And so we're looking for that courage, but then we're looking for that courage for that situation that we're facing now. God put us in situations where he puts us in danger, in various situations of danger, and shows us how we can overcome those dangers on a regular basis. So that way, when that danger comes up again, we're not constantly asking for help in that same situation or a different situation. Once we ask for it, he has put us in situations where we now know how to overcome danger when it comes into our lives, dangerous situations that come into our lives. And I asked God for love, and God gave me troubled people to help. Because sometimes we want to love people the way we want to love them. We want people to come into our lives and, God, I just want somebody to love me and treat me the way I treat them. And we go through this whole situation where we're asking all these things. We give our description of what we want. And then we expect God to say, oh, okay, here, this is what you want here. And he gives it to you. No, that's not what God does. God gives you troubled people to help. So through those troubled people, you learn how to be sympathetic. Learn how to have empathy. You learn how to love beyond just yourself, or just beyond that person that you're looking, that you say you want a relationship with. When you know how to give and help people who are in dire straight situations and having troubles, and you're willingly doing those things, you find that when you're in a relationship with somebody, then we say love. When a relationship with somebody, you find that you love that person. When you're having up times and down times, and they're having down times and up times, you're able to relate to them. You're able to understand, and you're able to work with them. And then because you love them, you're willing to accept their troubles. Right now, I was just had a conversation with somebody last night. We were talking about how difficult it is to get in relationships, because social media has made it so convenient for us to get into a relationship. And if we run into trouble in that relationship, we go in social media and we find somebody else, or we already have somebody else in mind, or somebody else that we have on the side, or we have an eye on somebody else. And so we never totally commit to loving anyone totally, because we're always constantly waiting for them to mess up or not give us something that we want, materialistically or whatever, emotionally, again, because you're looking for some person to give you love when you don't even know how to love yourself. You don't love yourself enough to understand what it takes to give you love. So they can give you bits and pieces, and then that other person is giving you bits and pieces. And if the bits and pieces that the person that you're with isn't fulfilling you, you're constantly keeping that other person or other people in your life to make you whole. So then, of course, you never become whole, because you're never satisfied. You never took the time to love and understand who you are. Understanding your you. You have to take time to be with yourself, to understand yourself, and love yourself. I asked God for strength. God gave me difficulties to make me strong. I asked God for wisdom. and God gave me problems to solve. I asked God for courage, and God gave me dangers to overcome. I asked God for love. God gave me troubled people to help. God gave me troubled people to help. Understanding your you. God will make you unstoppable when you trust and believe and understand who you are and trust and believe in your you. Again, my name is Willie A. Price. Willie A. Price Speaks. You guys have a blessed day, have a blessed week, and I will see you all next Sunday when we talk about a mother's love. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to be doing something. I need some volunteers, some volunteer mothers, aunts, nieces, nephews, well, actually mothers and caregivers, people who are working with young men primarily, who have sons and young nephews or whatever. And I'm looking for females to do this. I have a book out that's called A Mother's Love. And I want to do like a test run of that book, using that book and using some of the things that we do in that book. So I'm looking for a group of women or women's group or a group of mothers or whatever the case may be that I can use to put on a workshop with to test out the things that we're doing in the book to see how beneficial and helpful the book would be in helping prepare young men for success. So if you're interested in that, or if you have a group of women, a women's group or organization that would like to be a part of this, and we can do it virtually or we can do it in person, but I'm looking for a group, and I'm putting everything together now because I want to do this and I want to get the book out. It's supposed to have been out in September, but I didn't do it because I still didn't feel comfortable with some of the things, the way I was addressing them in the book. And the book and the information is based on my From Boys to Men program and the things we do with young men in that program to help them to become successful. But now we're creating a program to help parents, caregivers, and teachers work with those same young men and children to help them to become successful. If you know a group or interested in helping to be a part of that trial training and information, hit me up on this or Willie A. Price at AOL.com and let me know, and then we'll put something together. I'm hoping to do this hopefully in November, I think by the end of November or the first part of December. I don't want to go into January because I actually want to release the book in January or February. So guys, please keep me in mind on that subject, Our Mother's Love. And that's the workbook that we're working on. We're looking to create some type of a group where we can do a trial run of that book and see how parents, teachers, caregivers respond to the information in the book and how is it helpful or what needs to be adjusted, so that way we can redo some of the sections of the book and have it ready so when parents get it, they can go right to work and help prepare young people for success. Again, Willie A. Price, Willie A. Price Speaks. You guys have a blessed day, have a blessed week, and I will see you next Sunday.